Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Professor Dr. Rizwan Jamil Qureshi. Welcome to the lecture number 10 of Advanced Object-Oriented Software Engineering. In my last video, we have covered characteristics of a component, and today we are going to cover useful feature of a component. The component has interface, well-defined interface, and that contains component specification. Component specification means what are the main functions and extra functions. Component specification has component implementation, and component implementation has component instance, the instance of the object that's created. So this is the very important feature of a component. Then what are the main categories of components? That's the next question. There are two categories. We have generic and customized. Generic components are designed or developed according to generic requirements of a customer, and the customized, which are developed according to requirements of a specific customer, like Amazon, like King of the University, like Bank Al Habib or Habib Bank. Then what are the main types of components? That's the next question. We have four types of components: black box, white box, glass box, and gray box. What is the difference between them? Let us discuss them one by one. What is the meaning of black box? Black box component has a well-defined function and interface. Remember, go back to the definition of a component. Each reusable binary piece of code is called a component. So this is exactly what we are covering in the black box component, that it has well-defined function and interface. It is exactly used in the form it is provided by the vendor or by the developer, like built-in controls in Visual Studio, in NetBeans, in Cake PHP, Zen PHP, all frameworks. And it is typically available in the compiled or binary form to reuse. As I just covered the definition of a component, that it is compiled or it is available in the binary form. And we already covered the types of code. We have source code, we have intermediate code, and we have object code. The source code that are written by the programmer, and the binary code, when you compile the source code, the compiler will translate the high-level language code into machine code, or the assembler which translates the assembly language code into the machine code. And that's object code is also called binary code or executable code. And then we have the intermediate code, like Java and the .NET are the best examples. The Java, when Java code, source code is compiled, it's not translated into machine code directly. It is translated into an intermediate code, which is called bytecode in Java, and in Microsoft, which copied the execution of Java, it is called MSIL, Microsoft Intermediate Language. Then each operating system has its own JVM, Java Virtual Machine, and JVM translates the intermediate code into machine code of that operating system, like Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac, Sun Solaris, Fedora. And that is the reason Java is platform independent, and Microsoft claimed that .NET is also platform independent, but that's not the case. You always need some patches to have successful or smooth execution. So that's about the black box. What programmer knows about the black box component? Programmer knows about the black box component. That's the documentation. The documentation that describes the functionality and publicly known interfaces. What is the definition of interface? Point of contact between user and the computer. That's the generic, but we have high-level definition that interface is a connecting link at a shared boundary, allowing or permitting independent components to meet and act on user commands. So this is the high-level definition for the interfaces. So these interfaces may include what? That's the next question. Properties, methods, and events. Properties, also called attributes, data, state. Methods are also called functions, procedures, behavior, and the events. We will discuss them one by one. The properties. Properties or attributes can be considered like data of an object. Same, the data of the component, like student, like employee, like citizen, like vehicle. So for example, as a student, student ID, student name, contact, address, employee ID, employee name, department ID, department name. And we have controls, we have objects. When we select object, you have a property window that contains the attributes of that object. Like in Visual Studio.NET, when you select form object, you can see the property window of form. Same is the code window, then text box, label box, check box, command button, option box. You can see the property window that contains the attributes of that object or the component. Next is the methods. Methods allow the components to perform actions or reactions, pre-described actions. And the way you select the name, like text1 dot command1 dot, you can see the list of methods or functions. When you select object or component form1 dot, the list of methods, it has a name. What is the name of that list? When we click an object or component, you can see the list of functions or methods. What comes to your mind? This list is called IntelliSense. Interface also includes events. Events are the actions that are triggered by the user. For example, we have event-driven programming languages, internet programming languages, ASP, JSP, ASP.NET, C#, PHP, Perl, Python, Ruby. They all are event-driven programming languages. Program waits for the user to perform an action, and we call it event monitoring state or event listening state. So software is in the state of event listening or event monitoring. So user will decide how the program will work, not the program will decide how it will be executed. For example, you have ID, integrated development environment, you have event-driven programming language, you have web application, you have Google. You select the text or you type the text. Then based on the event, like you have command, submit, exit. So calculate salary, maximum number, minimum number, grade greater than 95, A plus A, greater than 90, A, B plus B, C plus C, D plus D, and F. So user will click the event and then that is fired. Like in visual programming, Visual Basic, we have four type of procedures. We have sub procedure, we have function procedure, event procedure, and Microsoft defined procedures. The event procedures are the click event. So you have click event and you call the sub procedure or function procedure in the click event, the command one, command two, exit, submit, report, print report, execute, maximum number, minimum number, calculate salary, transfer cash in ATM. You have different options are there. You click to transfer cash, that will be executed. You want to withdraw, you want to pay bill, you want to pay fine or grama. So whatever the, or check balance, pay bill. So there are different options are available. There is a menu available, and it's up to the user what action he wants to trigger, he wants to fire. In Java, you have action listener, you have item listener. So these are the three things: attributes, methods, and the events. The interface include the events, attributes, functions, as I just covered. Black box components cannot directly be modified by a programmer. Then how they are used? If we cannot directly modify them, that's a question, $1 million question. They extend the functionality by creating new wrapper components to wrap and extend the existing component. Wrapper is a concept like you have chocolate wrapper, sweet wrapper, and these are the wrapper components, wrapper classes that are extended. For example, import java.applet package, import java.awt abstract window toolkit, awt.event.static, awt.graphics. Public class welcome extends applet. So we are extending the applet to develop a class welcome.java. Public void initialize label L is equal to new label, welcome to the world of applets, add L, close the method, close the class. So that's the one of the examples, welcome.java, to show how the black box components are used. Why black box components cannot directly be used by the programmers, cannot be directly modified by the programmers. To keep the original functionality intact. Otherwise, if you allow them to directly modify, the programmer will change the original functionality, which is already developed. And you spent time, effort, cost, resources to develop that component. So you don't want to change the original component. You want to extend it. You want to use it, so just extend it. So bug fixing, upgrade, update made by the original developer cannot be changed. Interface of black box component should be fairly straightforward, well-defined, and easy to understand, so we can extend them and we can use them. Are there any other examples of black box components in the world, real world? Yes, there are. Your TV, your refrigerator, your fridge, microwave oven, we are surrounded by black box components. So you have control, that's interface available to increase the volume, decrease the volume, change the channel, up, down, that's interface available. Same is the car is another example. You have interface, how to drive a car, how to start a car, VCR, DVD. These all examples of black box components. In software world, the main examples of black box component subroutine. Now we heard about subroutine. What's subroutine? Subroutine is like a sub procedure of real basic. The sub procedure does not return value, whereas function procedure returns a value. And the fourth one, the click event, Microsoft defined procedures, sub procedure, function procedure, event procedure. There are four types of procedure. Sub procedure does not return value. Function procedure returns a value. Click event procedure, we call sub or function in the event procedure. And we have Microsoft defined procedures, like for example, you want to insert picture on the form window, or you select the component text one dot the list of methods. These all are defined by Microsoft. Command one, command two. So how the framework is working, that is done by the vendor. So subroutine is a function in C that does not return value. That is the first example of black box component. Class. We have abstract class. So abstract class has no body, no object. Abstract class has abstract methods. So abstract class contains abstract method. Abstract methods have no body. Abstract class cannot create objects. So how we use them? Their objects are developed, are initialized in the concrete classes. So abstract class is another example of black box component that is used for abstraction, information hiding, and encapsulation. Third example is operating system, like Windows, like Mac. How to define operating system? Operating system is a software that is used to manage input and output resources of the computer. So first function of operating system, the management of I/O resources, input and output resources. And it provides an interface to the users to interact. So that's the second function of operating system. So Microsoft Windows is a black box, or Mac is black box, because we don't have source code. We use as it is provided by the vendor. How it is working, what is the language used, that is all abstracted for us. We know the interface, how to use the operating system, the graphical user interface. That is the third example. Then we have database management system. What is a database management system? Database management system allows the users to create, access, and manage the database. So these are the three main functions of database management system: to create, access, and manage. There are several examples of database management systems, like Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, the most widely used, and then HANA by SAP. What is the difference between database and database management system? Like we have a database, which is not database management system. As we just covered the concept of database management system, a system or software that allows us to create, access, and manage the database. Do we have any example of a database which is not DBMS? What comes to your mind? So this question raised. Excel or spreadsheets are examples of databases, but they are not database management system. They don't allow us to create, access, and manage. So all spreadsheets including Excel, are examples of databases, but they are not database management system. Microsoft Access is a database management system. So subroutine is sometimes said to be a black box because you cannot see what's inside. Subroutine is a function that is called from another function but did not return any value like sub-procedures in Visual Basic. What are the other types of procedures? Sub-procedure, function procedure, event procedure, and Microsoft-defined procedure. There are 4 types of procedures. A class, the abstract class, we have public, we have private, the modifiers. So in that case, if it is private, that's the black box, or abstract classes are black box components. Operating system, they are frameworks. There are operating system like Microsoft Windows, Mac, they are examples. So we can only use them through the interfaces. We have the documentation like MSDN is there. Databases and spreadsheets. Pluggable components. Pluggable components are self-contained and they are used to enhance the functionality of a software. Like we have plugins for the browser to increase the functionality of browser, like Microsoft Silverlight, Flash Player. They all are examples of pluggable components. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.